Let's talk about tones.
Yes.
There are 4 tones in Mandarin.
4 basic tones plus 1 neutral tone.
There are 4 basic tones in Mandarin, plus a neutral tone.
Let's start with the basic tones. The first tone,
Also known as the flat tone. It's like when you go to the dentist and you say,
ah.
it starts high and just stays at the same level. Ah.
As an example, the syllable ma with a flat tone mark above it is pronounced ma,
And means mother in Mandarin.
ma. The second tone is the rising tone.
Now, imagine that your dentist says that she wants to charge you 20,000 for the dental checkup you just had.
What?
That surprised what sounds similar to the second tone in Mandarin. It starts in the middle of your vocal range and rises.
What? The syllable ma in a rising tone is pronounced ma,
It means hemp.
ma. Third tone, often called the falling rising tone.
If you say just one syllable on its own in the third tone, like for example,
Ma,
which means horse, then you hear that this tone starts quite low, falls a little bit, and then rises.
ma.
But in actual spoken Mandarin, the third tone rarely rises at the end. So, to make it simple, you could just think of the third tone as a low falling tone.
看，一匹马。
马
Fourth tone, also called the falling tone.
This sounds like when you're giving a command in English.
Stop.
It starts high and falls quickly to the bottom of your tone range.
Stop. A ma syllable in the fourth tone is pronounced ma,
And means to scold.
ma.
Okay, so we have,
First, second, third, fourth.
or with ma as an example.
Ma, 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 ma.
Ma, 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 ma.
Ma, 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 ma.
We're starting to sound like a broken record.
Yes, let's move on. We have learned that tones affect the meaning of words in Mandarin.
Right. So incorrect use of tones can sometimes lead to misunderstandings.
Yes, let's look at a few examples. 去哪儿？
啊，去哪儿？
啊？去哪儿？
去哪儿？
哦，去那儿。
你的马。
哈哈哈哈！我的妈！到了。
价钱。
价钱？
价钱。
哎，价钱100块。Okay, let's quickly review the 4 tones before we start practicing. First, second, third, fourth.
Here's a challenge for you.
I will say ma in one of the 4 tones. Can you hear which tone I'm using?
Well, let's try it.
Okay, ma.
That's the 4th tone, the falling tone. Ma.
Correct. Let's begin. Ma. 马 妈 马
Before we finish, let's try to say each of these four words in the correct tones.
We'll do it together first.
Ma, 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 ma.
Now, you try on your own. Great! 4 tones. We are done.
Not so fast. Let's turn the lights back on. You mentioned that there's a fifth tone.
Ah, the neutral tone. Syllables with a neutral tone are pronounced quickly and lightly.
And they have no tone mark, right?
Right. Here's an example. 肚子 Du is the fourth tone. Z, it's neutral. 肚子 This is almost the end of the video.
You should say something memorable or funny.
Something useful.
It's important to learn to recognize and pronounce the tones correctly.
Because they affect the meaning of the words we say.
Fortunately, in basic conversations, it's usually clear from context what you're trying to say, even if your tones aren't perfect.
So, don't be afraid to try out new words.
Just because you're not sure which tones to use.
After all, what's the worst that could happen?
Probably not.